These are the 7 steps that I've been working with hundreds of golfers to help them change their golf games forever, and you can do the exact same thing. Let me go through the 7 steps and how you can apply them starting right now. Hey everyone, Max here. Today I want to focus on the 7 steps, or rather the 7 first steps from our 30-day golf transformation journey. And these are really the 7 most powerful ones that we've been using for a couple of years now to help golfers improve their game and grow as players and realize what they need or don't need to do in order to reach their goals. Now, again, we've been helping hundreds of players with this, and actually it's kind of been a trial and error going through it, like what do we want to prioritize, in what order. And what we found is that these 7 steps have worked very often to help us get the most out of each and every player, but also helps you as a player better understand what you actually need to do in order to reach the goals you would like to achieve. Because it tends to be like this. No matter if we're talking golf or not, usually the results we want is on the other side or the opposite side of what we don't want to do. And that's what we're going to do here. We're going to take you through the 7 first steps, and some of them you're probably not going to like. Some of them you're probably going to feel like, well, Max, I get it, but I'm not going to do that. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like doing so. And by that, well, you're kind of choosing not to get to your full potential, which is fine. That is completely up to you. But just remember, if you want to get to the opposite side and get to your full potential, I would have you go through them. It doesn't take that much time, but it's going to be well worth it. And once you've done it once, you're going to realize it wasn't that hard, and through that, help you do it more often and help you keep improving. Number 1 is creating your success map. And we call this success map is simply taking the time to take a step back and realize a couple of things. We need ourselves a map if we want to see ourselves progress over time. And what we mean by that is simply that in order to get to where I want to go, I also need to know where I'm going to start, or where I'm starting, and what I got to work with. Just like you would in any trip whatsoever. Like, I'm starting in my hometown, I'm going to go to this town, but what's my budget? How much time do I have? When do I need to get there? And everything like that. We kind of do the same thing for a golf game. Like figuring out where am I actually starting? Where do I actually want to go? And then from that, working our way through a couple of different questions to realize that I got this to work with. These are my strengths. These are my weaknesses. And through that, kind of putting down on a piece of paper digitally that, well, this is what I got going for me. These are the challenges I'm facing right now. And working through them is really going to give you a great understanding of what you need to do as a golfer in order to reach all the way to where we want to go, rather than just sitting here right now thinking that, well, I would like to be a scratch golfer. I'm 20 right now, I would like to reach scratch, but I have no clue how to get there, and I actually never thought about it. Well, then you have no idea what you're doing, do you? Which is fine. I mean, if we've never done it, we can't know what to do. But if I want to get there, maybe it's time to actually sit down and start thinking about how would I solve this problem? Where am I actually at right now? And how would I work with that going forward to get the results I want to get? Just food for thought. That's where we're going to start out, creating our own success map. Once I have that success map and I know where I'm starting, I know where I want to go, we get to step 2 and we get a bit more actionable to actually see what your game is up to. And the second step is all about knowing your distances, because I've seen so many golfers through the years coming to me wanting to improve, wanting to get better, or maybe coming to me after a round asking like, Max, what do I need to do? I'm hitting well in the driving range, I'm doing this in the short game, everything feels good, but when I get out there, it just doesn't work. And one of the main questions I ask these days is, one of the first questions I ask these days is simply, do you know how far you actually carry your 9-iron? And usually the answer is something like, well, it should be doing XXX. No, it's not. It's not should. If you're saying you should be hitting a club some distance, that's not correct. You should be telling me when I ask you, I know that on average my club does this. Now, it doesn't always do that. That's why we call it an average. We want to know also how far you hit it when you hit it really far, or how short you tend to hit it if you're hitting it shorter. But knowing your average with each club is a must if you want to improve your golf game, and it's going to change your game like right now if you take the time to find out. It's that simple. And the opposite is true. If you're not finding out how far you actually hit your golf clubs, you might be hitting them further or shorter than you think. You're actually leaving a lot of shots out on the course. So step number 2 should be to figure out your average carry distances with all clubs in your bag as soon as humanly possible, if you want to shoot lower scores starting as quick as possible. Step 3 is 2 things. It's figuring out your scoring zone and figuring out your scoring clubs. Now, I teach you to call the short game, or rather what's happening within the short game, our scoring zone. And I also choose to talk about the clubs as scoring clubs, not wedges, 9-irons, or whatever, because I want to kind of be very specific on what I'm trying to achieve with that club. Golf has a lot of terms. I want to make it a lot easier. Like, this club is for scoring. That's why we call it a scoring club. The scoring zone is when you're close enough to feel like you could score from that area, i.e. get the ball in the hole. So when we call a scoring zone is simply from where you feel like you could, without a doubt, 9 out of 10 times, hit one shot up on the green and putt twice, so in total 3 shots, to get the ball in the hole. When you figure that out, it's going to be a lot easier for you to kind of build up your plan for how to go about playing a golf hole. When you know that, well, when I'm within 30 yards from the green, I feel like I should be able to get the first shot on the green somewhere, putt twice, on average, to move on to the next hole. That is very important. Also, knowing which clubs are scoring clubs, and actually, to me, there should only be 2 in your bag, or rather, 2 clubs that are saying are your scoring clubs. One for hitting the higher shots, the pitch shots or the wedge shots, whatever you want to call it, which is for me my 60-degree wedge, and one for hitting the bump and runs, which for me is my 9-irons. You know, the low ones that rolls. We want to hit a lot of those, but we have to have a club for hitting those shots, and those 2 clubs are going to be our scoring clubs. That together with our scoring zone is very powerful. It's going to make planning our rounds a lot easier. Talking about scoring, we also have to take a closer look at the scoring shot. Now, Max, you said you had a scoring zone, you had scoring clubs, but do you also have a scoring shot? Yeah, I like to call it that. Again, just to simplify things. The scoring shot is those kind of distance wedges that a lot of golfers would call them, which means that you're not hitting a full swing and you're not hitting a little chip shot or pitch shot just over a bunker or just rolling it up on the green. You're hitting maybe 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 yards or meters in on a green. A shot that most players, most amateurs hate. They can't hit the shot to save their lives, but it's going to be necessary if you want to improve our scores. And this is kind of just step 4 is simply just reminding you of, if you can't hit it already, you should learn as soon as humanly possible, because it's going to be very important for your score. Not to hit it close like this. You only have to get the ball on the green. But if you can get comfortable hitting the green from 50 yards or 60 yards to 70 yards, that is going to help your score much more than anything else. Because that means that you can always hit the ball as far forward as possible, even though it's going to put you in situations that you currently don't like, because you can't hit the scoring shot. But once you learn how to hit the scoring shot, you can just rely on that, get the ball in the green, putt a couple of times, and move on. Again, making it as easy as possible. So we need to put some love into those distance wedges, or that we call it the scoring shot. Step 5 is all about putting. Getting the ball on the green should be our main objective, because then it's going to be all about putting. If it's one thing that is easy to improve on, it's going to be our putting. And finding a systematic approach to going through our putting and how to actually use the putter to keep the amount of shots low is a philosophy as much as it is a systematic approach, as much as it's all of it. So to me, there are 3 steps to this. Number 1, you should be lining up your golf balls. You should be having these lines in the ball to help you line up, aim your putt, but also evaluate each and every putt you're hitting, if you're actually hitting it on the line you're supposed to, or if you're pulling it or pushing it, hitting it to the right or the left, whatever. We need to be able to tell whether we're hitting a good putt that didn't go in because I read the green wrong, or simply that I pushed it or pulled it or whatever it is. That the line on the ball is going to help us with. Secondly, I would highly recommend you stop using your eyes to read greens and start using your feet. Now, there are a few different systems, and I would always recommend you go through an Aim Point Express course if you're able. But if you're not able, or if you're unsure, just start right now. Next time you're on a green, next time you're on your feet whatsoever, try to feel what the ground is doing. Because that is what our feet are doing all the day, every day, right? No matter what ground we're working on or walking on, no matter how hilly or slopey or whatever it is, we're going to feel that the ground is uneven. We're going to feel the undulations on the green, because that's what our feet are supposed to do in everyday life. Why not use that on the putting green and start using that as soon as possible? It's going to save you a lot of shots on the green when it comes to putting. And finally, our philosophy on the greens is simple. Get it close, get it what we like to call within the bucket, which is the length of your putter, if it's within the length of your putter of the hole, you're good to go. You're golden, because that means that you're usually going to make sure that the next putt is in, and through that, you're going to do a lot less 3-putts, which is definitely going to help you shoot lower scores and improve your handicap. Now, step 6 is all about your plan. Planning out the way you're going to play the hole, planning out the way you're going to play your round, and it's very powerful stuff. And if you're on the first tee without a plan, just hoping it's going to go all right, chances are it's not. And chances are also that you're playing what we call the hit and hope strategy, which pretty much means just what you're doing already. The pros don't do that. The pros never roll up to the first tee kind of figuring out as they go, right? You spend some time on it. And you don't have to spend that much time. In fact, you don't probably have that much time to spend, but spending a few minutes looking over the course guide, or if you can do that online the day before or something like that, kind of figuring out, well, here I'm going to hit that club and I'm going to hit that club. And actually, if you know how many putts you want to make, you know where your scoring zone is at, actually planning the hole backwards. So starting on the green, figuring out, well, 2 putts, which means that I'm going to have 1 shot up on the green, and then I'm going to have 2 shots to get to where I want to get up on the green. Then you kind of answer your own question of how you're going to play that hole simply by starting in the right place. So rather than starting on the tee, start playing golf backwards by starting from the green, working your way back, and soon you're going to have a plan for all 18 holes, how to play it on your level to help you shoot lower scores and improve your handicap. And finally, the 7th step, that is the game changer for most of these hundreds of golfers I've helped over the years, is the action plan. Because if we're not changing what we're doing, we're not going to gain different results, are we? So we have to change what we're doing, because the other way around is insanity. Doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results, we can't do that. So we're starting already to have an idea of how we want to play, how to use the different clubs in our bag to get there. And let's be honest, now that all that is left to do, because you have this information in your head right now, you've learned a whole lot just by watching this video, but it's not going to change one single thing unless you are taking action. Take action right now, and you're going to change a lot of things very, very quickly. You don't have to go through all 7 steps like that. Take one at a time. Start from the get-go. Spend some time on your success map, figuring out where you're starting, where you want to go, what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, and how you can affect those. Then spend some time getting to know how far you hit the golf clubs, and then we're going to go through putting. You're going to go through the scoring clubs, the scoring shot, the scoring zone. Do it all in due time, but start taking action. Start taking action to change if you would like your results to do the same. So that is the 7 different steps, or the 7 steps that I'm using for golfers of all levels who wants to improve their game, to start them off in the right direction, take action that's going to make a change in the long run, and help them reach their goals.